Hey guys, this is Christina from I Am That I Am Publishing. For a lot of you who watch my videos, you know I mostly do spiritual stuff. This video is a little bit more 3D, meaning I'm going to talk about politics and motherhood and children and address some of the world leaders out there who manage this planet. It's a little bit awkward that I have a lot of clarity in my brain. I had not ever intended to open my mouth about this stuff, but really cool things have been happening. We've got Bono's gone back to Africa to do some charity work. We have Justin Trudeau in Canada who is supporting not just the poorer families in his country, but supporting the One campaign, which has to do with addressing extreme poverty. I'm going to start right there. First of all, before I start there, I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time out of your very busy lives, because we all have a lot going on, to listen to a woman that you've never met, that probably, in the words of my college professor, knows more than is for her own good. Pull together some ideas that we're all working on right now. This planet is blowing up with unity, oneness, caring, love, appreciation, and kindness. And this video is aimed to not tell people what to do or what I think, but to throw in some ways of looking at what we're doing that may shorten the distance between where we are and where we want to be. That being said, thank you, Justin Trudeau. I am a single mom in America, and I have, by what I would call the grace of God, had to walk through hell and understand what it means to live in a first world country and deal with the parameters of dealing with the government, dealing with the paperwork, dealing with the court system, dealing with dads who don't show up. And that's fine, guys, because if you guys are watching this, you know I love you and you're good men. But not everybody wants to do what a mom wants to do. This is really important for all of us, whether you're my sister in poverty or you're my friend in the government. Not everybody wants to be a parent. Not everybody wants to raise a child. Not everybody wants to have that experience, and that needs to be really okay. It doesn't sound proper in the sense of how we've been doing things, but it is intelligent in the sense of how life can better unfold in a joyful way for everyone. And I'm going to fall back on the Constitution. All men are created equal, and everyone has the right to the pursuit of happiness. And then the 14th Amendment has to do with privacy and the right to raise your family the way you want to, blah, blah, blah. What does that mean to world leaders? It means that when you recognize there are these women who are bringing through their bodies these citizens, believe me, they love you. Your mom loves you. She might have been ridiculously stupid or ignorant or lost or unsure of what she was doing, because the world is not easy to navigate. But that love factor is like a cellular encoded frequency. Love is always there. And even if your own personal mom didn't demonstrate to you as much love as you might have preferred, the caring for your being on the planet is surrounding you at all times. Now, what does that matter politically? It matters a lot, because politicians and world leaders have to find a way to navigate how do we support the existence, the lifetime of these souls that are having life experiences, financially, physically, economics, all of that, and experientially, and I mean that on a daily basis, in a way that is respectful and kind and loving. One of the challenges, I wanted to call it a problem, because to me it is a problem, but it's just a challenge. One of the challenges in the first world is we have established a court system that tells the mother, the carrier and birther of this soul that's come to planet Earth to experience life, that she is instantaneously a ward of the court if she's below the poverty level. This is important because most women in other countries, if you start to scale the economics, the dollars and the cents of it, are going to fall below that poverty line. And without meaning to, what governments are doing in the UK, in Ireland, in all Western countries, is we're trapping these moms in a court-ordered system of visitation and sometimes child support, trapping the dad in a tightwad system. So we're sort of shortening their freedoms to pay for this child. Now, a lot of government leaders would say, well, duh, you know, we don't want to foot the bill for this kid being on the planet. And we get that. We totally get that. But there are many of us who are intelligent. I am well-educated, college-educated, whatever, who could do better for society if we had the freedom to maintain the privacy of our own homes. It's like taking what wasn't working, pulling it apart, like breaking that Rubik's Cube into all its little parts and pieces, and how are we going to put it back together so that it all aligns, that everyone thrives, everyone's happy, the education system works, and we have people that are allowed to pursue their happiness and contribute to society. So on a global scale, we're dealing with really different levels of what I want to call communities. I live in a first world community where I'm graced by some, like, let's say, African standards of living. I am so rich, it's ridiculous. But by the standards of my own state and neighborhood, I'm so poor, it's ridiculous. And I like looking at those because I personally just am able to look at it like I'm okay. But it's allowed me to see how opening the doors for expansion, for education, for kids to thrive, and when kids thrive, they give back to society. They bring their subconscious intelligence from Abraham Lincoln, Albert Einstein. Tesla was very poor. Some people don't like her, Ayn Rand, but let's admit it, Ayn Rand was really smart. I mean, she could take a lot of ideas, break them down, and put them back together. Still with us, thank you, Richard. Richard Bach has given us incredible insights into how we can communicate with spirit and yet apply it to the practical. So we have these souls coming to Earth that have gifts, major gifts, and everyone has one. So whatever walk of life you are, if you can detach just a tiny little itty bitty bit from the political, dollar, economic infrastructure of what we're doing for kids, it's possible to understand that, number one, kids pretty much only need the dollar support from 0 to 18. That sounds long, but it's not that long. And while you're doing that, you're opening the door for these souls, these people, to bring and express into the world what they wanted to before they got here. You have to be a little bit spiritual to wrap your head around that. But even Jesus kind of said, I'm only here because my Father sent me. Like, I have something to give the world, and it's important, and I want to give it to you. And as a world leader, you know in your heart that you really, truly, at your core, want to make it better. Better is such an individual definition for each person and whatever reality they're living in. But better on the basic level is so well integrated into the Constitution. Better means allowed to be happy, allowed to have a peaceful day, allowed to be free to pursue happiness. So, Christina, how do you take all these woo-woo ideas and apply them into the practical living of government function and court systems? Many people aren't going to like my ideas, and I'm okay with that. One, for America, part of the reason I wanted to do this video is there are, as far as I can find on Google, 12 million documented single moms in America and growing. It's probably closer to like getting up to 20 million. And there are millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of more moms bringing children into the world unwed. What does that mean? It means it does take a village. You have to see from the bigger picture that these aren't these women who didn't get married or having babies out of wedlock and shame, shame, shame. These are Sorry, I gotta laugh. I did see a quote where it said, if we're gonna outlaw abortion, then we have to outlaw single motherhood. Because if she's gotta have the baby, then daddy has to marry her and show up, which most men don't want to do. And we have to factor all that in. You gotta factor that into your brain and just let all that go and see that, for one, let's face it, this world is prosperous. This world is abundant. This planet is so fecund, you could vomit. I mean, there's so much food and so many resources already that it is possible to economically, and I don't mean dollars, I mean physically, energy, food, housing. It is possible to support all the beings, all the souls that are being born. We have the ability to do that. Now, whether or not all the team players up here in the higher realms of government and politics want to do that, that's your guys' problem. You guys got to sit down, get along, and be like, wow, we can make a really amazing planet, and sort of like undercut the diversity of differing opinions, whether it's religion or, you know, this is right and wrong, I like blue, you like red, and just forget all of the intricacies of disagreement and just flow the abundance in such a way that everybody gets to have a great day today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day, and trust that while you're doing that, you're opening the floodgates for that abundance, your allowing of that, it will be mirrored back to you. You have a better day, you sleep better, you're already well fed, you're really well paid, you already got a house, you already got so you really don't need anything. I mean, you're fine. So when you see that your ability to flow more resources to those that are coming in feeds back to you, in the sense that you end up leaving a legacy of incredible trust in the fecundity. What a great word, right? Sorry, I was an English major, I love that word. The fecundity of planet Earth and the pursuit of happiness, then the United States Constitution starts to make a little bit more sense. You start to see how, prior to you even being born, there was a laid out plan or an idea or an opportunity, better said, because it's off free will, an opportunity for you to participate in allowing this planet to do what this planet does amazingly well, which is support life, which is support experience, which is support love. And that rolls back to the mother piece, which is every mom really, when you carry a baby, you love your child and you pray and hope and wish and look and work for opportunities for that child to experience their life experience in such a way that supports their love of themselves. So it comes back to self-love, but it always comes back to love. So Bono of U2, I don't know why I like you. So many people hate you. I'm so sorry for that. But it was a really cool song when he says, when love comes to town. Because when you bring your love to town, to the community, to the world, you can be like, hey, I don't really care what's gone before. This infrastructure, there's a lot of disgruntled people. There's a lot of moms that are, I call it the invisible prison because I live in it. And the invisible prison is where I'm not allowed to move. I can't do this and I can't do that without court approval. And it dawned on me like, wow, if I'm doing this, and how many other moms are like trapped in this invisible wall of you have to live here for these 18 years of your life. It doesn't matter how great the opportunities might be over there, you can't go there. You're not allowed because you're now a ward of the state. And in the United States, and all apologies to the United States government, you guys did a really good job and I got it, I get it, but it's not serving the thriving of what this country was based on. We have laws that, what's that word? Supplement the states when they find a 90 percentile of dads that are lacking in child support. It's a kickback, that's what they call it. It's a kickback to the states, and like the millions and millions and millions of dollars that the states get for getting dads to pay for their own kid. And there's logic behind that, and that's all well and good because these programs have to be funded. But there's illogic in that it's preventing mothers who have sole custody from shifting their reality around in such a way that could allow their children and themselves to contribute better to the state. And if it's a money game, that's very restrictive. If it's a happiness game, still restrictive. If it's a economic boom game, still restrictive, because it inadvertently creates daily stresses on the mother. Some people want to say tough shit lady, right? You don't really want to say tough shit lady when you look ahead 18 years and you realize you want intelligent, loving, compassionate citizens in your country. You want kids that were raised with love and kindness and won't tolerate ridiculous ideas, that won't tolerate crime, that won't tolerate bullying. You can't raise a child in a prison cell and then ask them to go out into the world at 18 and be loving and kind. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not working. So the funny thing about the world economy is when we're dealing with the currency, the money that pays to move things around, when you realize as a leader you have enough currency to move whatever you need to supply yourself, and you remember that it can be really, really amazing to leave that ultimate legacy of joy for others. Justin Trudeau, Bono, Bill Gates Foundation. Then the currency becomes a tool for almost laughable joy. And in doing that, if you can also remember, this planet is so fecund, it's never going to run out. And the more we align with its ability to support all life, you don't have to destroy human beings and whittle down the population so that you can control them. You can relax and understand the only thing all those so-called mechanized slaves that you're worried about rebelling against you, they didn't want what you have. They just wanted to have a good day and a good moment and some good memories with their family. And then your fears as leaders drops through the floor and you realize nobody's coming to take what you have. Nobody even wants what you have. Nobody's frustrated because of what you have. It's all in your imagination. And in gifting the people of the planet the freedom to experience their lifetimes in a loving, joyful, uplifting way, actually, if you're worried about your prosperity, because as I come to understand it, some people think someone wants their power, you suddenly realize they trust you.